Today is August 17th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps, 12 Traditions. Today at the Big Book, we're going to continue our journey through Chapter 3, more about alcoholism, by reading page 37. At the 12 and 12, we're going to continue Step 6 by reading page 64. And we'll be reading today's daily reflection and 24 hours a day. So with that, hope y'all are doing well this morning, my friends. We've been given a brand new set. Once again, a brand new set of 24 hours. What a blessing it is just to be alive today. So let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, out of the Big Book, if you recall from yesterday, our buddy Jim, he's struggling here. Well, you kind of saw yesterday that he had a little bit of a resentment. This is the story. I came to work on Tuesday morning. I remember I felt irritated that I had to be a salesman for a concern I once owned. So there's a resentment starting to fester a little bit. Then he's going on a trip, I guess a sales trip, and he stops by a restaurant he's been to many, many times. All of a sudden he gets this wild idea. You know what? With my sandwich, I think I want to go ahead and put a little whiskey in this milk. Before long, he's back at the races. So with that, we're going to continue the thought on page 37. Whatever the precise definition of the word may be, we call this plain insanity. How can such a lack of proportion, of the ability to think straight, be called anything else? You may think this an extreme case, but to us it is not far-fetched, for this kind of thinking has been characteristic of every single one of us. We have sometimes reflected more than Jim did upon the consequences. But there was always the curious mental phenomenon that parallel with our sound reasoning, there inevitably ran some insanely trivial excuse for taking that first drink. Our sound reasoning failed to hold us in check. The insane idea won out. Next day we would ask ourselves in all earnestness and sincerity, how it could have happened. In some circumstances, we've gone out deliberately to get drunk, feeling ourselves justified by nervousness, anger, worry, depression, jealousy, or the like. But even in this type of beginning, we are obliged to admit that our justification for a spree was insanely insufficient in light of what always happened. We now see that when we began to drink deliberately, instead of casually, there was little serious or effective thought during the period of premeditation of what the terrific consequences might be. Our behavior is as absurd and incomprehensible with respect to the first drink as that of an individual with a passion, say, for jaywalking. He gets a thrill out of skipping in front of fast-moving vehicles. He enjoys himself for a few years in spite of friendly warnings. Up to this point, you just label him as a foolish chap, having queer ideas of fun. Luck then deserts him, and he is slightly injured several times in succession. You would expect him, if he were normal, to cut it out. Presently, he's hit again, and this time he has a fractured skull. Within a week after leaving the hospital, a fast-moving trolley car breaks his arm. He tells you that he has decided to stop jaywalking for good. But in a few weeks, he breaks both legs. Moving on to the 12 of 12, we're on step 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. And yesterday, one of our last lines we read was, "But when I became willing to clean a house, and then asked a higher power, God as I understood him, to give me release, my obsession to drink vanished. It was lifted right out of me." So this here was a spiritual experience, and we're going to build on that idea on 64. In AA meetings all over the world, statements just like this are heard daily. It's plain for everybody to see that each sober AA member has been granted a release from his very obstinate and potentially fatal obsession. So in a very complete and literal way, all AAs have become entirely ready to have God remove the mania for alcohol from their lives. And God has proceeded to do exactly that. Having been granted a perfect release from alcoholism, why then shouldn't we be able to achieve by the same means a perfect release from every other difficulty or defect? This is a riddle of our existence, the full answer to which may be only in the mind of God. Nevertheless, At least a part of the answer to it is apparent to us. When men and women pour so much alcohol into themselves that they destroy their lives, they commit a most unnatural act. Defying their instinctive nature for self-preservation, they seem bent upon self-destruction. They work against their own deepest instinct. As they are humbled by the terrific beating administered by alcohol, the grace of God can enter them and expel their obsession. Here, their powerful instinct to live can cooperate fully with their Creator's desire to give them new life. For nature and God alike abhor suicide. But most of our other difficulties don't fall under such a category at all. Every normal person wants, for example, to eat, to reproduce, to be somebody in the society of his fellows. And he wishes to be reasonably safe and secure as he tries to attain these things. Indeed, God made him that way. He did not design man to destroy himself by alcohol, but he did give man instincts to help him to stay alive. Daily Reflection, August 17th. Righting the harm. In many instances, we shall find that though the harm done others has not been great, the emotional harm that we have done ourselves has. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 79. Have you ever thought that the harm that you did a business associate, or perhaps a family member, was so slight that it really didn't deserve an apology? Because they probably wouldn't remember it anyway. If that person and the wrong done to him keeps coming to mind time and time and again, causing an uneasy or perhaps guilty feeling, then I put that person's name at the top of my amends list and become willing to make a sincere apology, knowing that I will feel calm and relaxed about that person once this very important part of my recovery is accomplished. "24 Hours a Day, August 17th. AA Thought for the Day. To one who feels he is an atheist or agnostic, a spiritual experience seems impossible. But to continue as he is means disaster. To be doomed to an alcoholic death or to live on a spiritual basis are not always easy alternatives to face. But we have to face the fact that we must find a spiritual basis of life, or else. Lack of power is our dilemma. We have to find a power by which we can live, and it has to be a power greater than ourselves. Have I found that power by which I can live? Meditation for the day. Sunshine is the laughter of nature. Live out in the sunshine. The sun and air are good medicine. Nature is a good nurse for tired bodies. Let her have her way with you. God's grace is like the sunshine. Let your whole being be wrapped in divine spirit. Faith is the soul's breathing in the divine spirit. It makes glad the heart of human beings. The divine spirit heals and cures the mind. Let it have its way, and all will be well. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may live in the sunshine of God's Spirit. I pray that my mind and soul may be energized by it. Okay, my friends, that concludes today's reading. Just wonderful readings as always. It's always hard to pick one to just talk about. But the daily reflection really stood out to me today. It says here, have you ever thought that the harm you did a business associate or perhaps a family member was so slight that it really didn't deserve an apology because they probably wouldn't remember it anyway? I've done that. I don't want to make this a thing, but what I said could be misconstrued, or maybe I was unkind completely unintentionally, or maybe even intentionally. And it's starting to mull around in my head, and I can't stop thinking about it. What do I do? Well, this person here says, if that person and the wrong done to him keeps coming to mind time and time again, causing an uneasy or perhaps guilty feeling, then I put that person's name at the top of my amends list. Action. Put that person's name on top of an amends list and become willing to make a sincere apology. Becoming willing. Okay. I need to apologize for this. I need to make a sincere apology. I need to mean it. Knowing that I will feel calm and relaxed about that person once this very important part of my recovery is accomplished. It's where we try to right our wrongs and learn from them. Because it's not easy. It's not always easy to go up to somebody and say, hey, I'm sorry. But I never regretted it. But anyways, my friends, that's all we have time for today. As always, I don't speak on behalf of AA or NA or Al-Anon or any other sect or denomination. I'm just a friend in this lifeboat of recovery, just trying to take this recovery journey one step and one day at a time. If you're sober today, my friend, you are a miracle. And I'm sure that those who love you are very proud of you. If we are given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.